come once again to discuss things.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Super2. Joining me today is Melanjeftic1992 and Steve Baxi, and we are continuing to celebrate Geeky Gentlemen History Month, the month where we celebrate all the contributions that Geeky Gentlemen have made to history, but it only gets relegated down to a month because of a biased school system.
Indeed. Indeed.
I tweeted that the other day, and it's just too good not to use again. No, but Geeky Gentlemen History Month is, despite the confusion with the name, is actually a month where on Geeky Gentlemen we talk about things related to history, and this happened completely by accident. But hey, you got a cool LP out of it, of Civilization Revolution, and you know we're getting some interesting topics going right now, so this is fun.
I've never realized before, but your voice is not that annoying, Ian.
Fuck you.
No, I'm serious. The HD mic really, like, all the little nuances in your voice are standing out in vivid color, well, sound. And I'm like, holy shit, that's interesting. I've never heard you with such a good quality mic before.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I'm talking to a whole new different person. But yes, we're talking here on Geeky Gentleman History Month. We try to be at least nominally a little bit more well, I try to be at least quasi-coherent.
And look how well that's working out so far. So anyway, Milan, what are we talking about tonight? If you or not tonight, the time is totally fucked right now. This feels like so wrong. This doesn't even feel like an episode of Geeky Gentlemen right now. It's in the middle of the day. Like I'm still wearing my pajamas from waking up like 20 minutes ago. This is all.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. here, and I smell burning flesh.
Well, see, it's like the exact opposite, because usually we're recording in the middle of the afternoon for you, and it's night for Steve and I. It's all topsy-turvy, but what are we talking about, assuming you remember?
Yes, I believe that the topic was positive uses of propaganda in history.
Okay. So, like, that feels really narrow. Can we just broaden it out to propaganda in general?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm just like positive uses. Well, shit, I don't know.
There's only a couple of those.
The Nazis are bad, and superheroes should punch Hitler in the face a lot.
Well, like, what I thought of when you were talking about, like, propaganda, and, like, the first thing that came to my head is certainly he didn't invent it in the same way that, you know, Galileo didn't invent the telescope, but, you know, when I think propaganda, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Hitler. And I know that he wasn't the only person ever to use propaganda, I'm not going to say that, but, like,
but he was one of the best utilizers of it.
Yeah, there's clearly, like, an Elvis of propaganda here, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Triumph of the Will, like, the most popular propaganda film in history.
Yep.
And if you can convince an entire country to essentially turn on a single minority race in its populace and essentially eviscerate them with nothing but propaganda and, you know, gas, and yeah, the Holocaust happened. I just wanted to remind everyone.
Wait, no, it didn't. That was all made up and it's CGI.
Don't tell them. Yeah, we're horrible people. It's okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, so propaganda is one of those interesting things where it's not a new thing. I mean, there was propaganda for, you know, as long as there's been civilizations. I mean, why else would you put... Yeah, why else would you put fucking, like, the leader's face on money? You know, people worship money, so therefore they're worshiping the leader of the country, you know? It's goes back for frickin' ever. I'd say you could argue that the pyramids were propaganda, because people would associate People would associate like a great structure like that with greatness in the person, and then you realize it's all a tomb, so that must have been a really great guy, even though the 3 famous pyramids are like totally some of the worst pharaohs.
Well, depending. It depends on how you perceive the value of human life. You know, there were peasants. It doesn't matter. They were just there to be used. It's the great ones that rise to the top. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm talking about like just like the pharaohs like that those pyramids were built for, or is it a pharaoh? Whatever. That the 3 famous pyramids were built for are like not, you know, they weren't Ramses.
Not at all. Not at all. But
it'd be like building a like monument to, I don't know, Franklin Pierce in America.
See, this is what happens.
There are so few people in the world who even know who Franklin Pierce is.
I'm one of them. I'm not one of them. I don't know who that is.
Actually, it's amazing. All right, so this is the great thing about Geeky Gentlemen History Month is we're just gonna like go off on tangents of like interesting historical things. All right, so one of the worst presidents after Lincoln, like I think maybe he was either the president right after or right before or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to follow that one up. It's like, yeah.
Well, no, like it's not even like he was an okay president, but wasn't anything compared to Lincoln. He was like one of the worst presidents ever. He did like all this stuff to either, I can't remember if it was fuck the advancements made by Lincoln in the Civil War, or if it was to create problems that made us have to have a Civil War. But anyway, Franklin Pierce, awful president. The only president to not be nominated by his own party for a second term. and follow the. Get ready for this. You follow the lineage of this, and you ready? This is the really important part. Barbara Bush is his great-great-great-granddaughter.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
that's hilarious.
That explains a lot. It really does.
It's one of my favorite little historical facts.
Yeah, I guess the degenerate gene was passed on quite well.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I guess to follow that up, I think we should also have some sort of pyramid to William Harrison, since he's the president that's only been in office for 30 days.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah, and then he died.
Yeah, that one's great. He literally got to do nothing.
Imagine...
Well, no, that's the greatest thing, because he's all like, I don't need a fucking coat. I'm not a pussy. He dies of pneumonia.
You know what's funny? Is there fiction written up, like, what if this guy didn't die and actually went on to go president? Or would we all be, reduced to thermonuclear ash?
I don't know.
There's a really great book. I thought I should pick that up. I don't remember the title of it, but it's essentially a book of what if Kennedy didn't get assassinated, and what would 8 years under his watch be like through Vietnam and the end of the Cold War and all that.
Yeah. And the Republicans are like, it's going to be terrible. The commies will, rape your women. It's a good thing that he died, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good thing that he died. Yeah. But anyway, I'm starting to look back at the previous point I made, and how would the 1880s come up with fucking thermonuclear weapons? Perhaps the presidency would advance science to such a point where such weapons could be developed, but, well, they could cause a thermonuclear...
Let me actually tie this to something that
Steampunk thermonuclear holocaust. Steampunk thermonuclear holocaust. I just made it
fast.
Yep. I just made it genre.
You did. Congratulations. No, but all right. So like one of the things that makes me think propaganda used in a positive way though is Lincoln's campaign for president against Steve, help me out. Who did he run against? It's the short guy that like ran 6 times.
His name was Steve something, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's not coming to me right now. Anyway, there's this short guy that like kept running for president. I think he was the Speaker of the House at one point.
George McLean?
Nah, that doesn't sound right.
Was that
the failed president? The man that would be president but wasn't.
Yeah, like his life's ambition was to become president, and the closest he got was he was the Democratic Party that ran against Lincoln. And it's so crazy to see some of the propaganda that Lincoln was able to develop, and I mean, he did a really good job of it. Being that you think of the presidential campaigns now, and not just this country, but any country, and they really are, glorified beauty pageants.
Oh, definitely.
And that's obviously why Mitt Romney lost.
Oh, Stephen Douglas. There we go. Stephen Douglas.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, there it is.
So, like, you look at Lincoln, and that dude could easily pass for a circus freak.
Oh, definitely.
Super tall. He's got a giraffe's neck, and it just looked like someone beat him in the face with a shovel. But people supporting Lincoln put out all this stuff, and, like, Lincoln was one of the first great ad campaigns, grassroots ad campaigns, if you will, because they put out these pictures of Lincoln chopping wood to make a fence, and that's stuff he did growing up, and that, you know, was the birth of, like, not the birth, but this was when aristocracy kind of really did exist in America, and, you know, Stephen Douglas couldn't really do anything like that. He spent his whole life trying to be president, so he spent his whole life, you know, mooching up to big wigs and stuff like that. So he couldn't connect with the common man in that way. And he was
he was a lifelong suck-up.
Not. I mean, he wouldn't have been the worst president or anything. Like he clearly wanted to. Yeah, he clearly wanted to be president, and he clearly had ideas. So he couldn't. It's not like he wouldn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was a very effective political leader at the time. But he wasn't Lincoln. Lincoln was like Kennedy or like
Lincoln.
I don't know, like early Obama, like candidate Obama, if you will. Like Lincoln just had this magnetism that just drew you into him, and he just seemed so appealing to be president. Like Milan, you've been making the point the last couple of videos that, you know, you shouldn't want to have a beer with your president. I don't want to have a beer with Lincoln, and I don't even drink.
That's one of the character flaws that we all are quietly ashamed about you, Ian.
Oh, good. It's just one of those things. Like I think Lincoln just was a fantastic president and just a cool guy.
Yeah, I guess
I love the Daniel Day-Lewis and Spielberg movie.
Oh yeah.
Just fucking tells stories all the time.
he's the nation's grandpa.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
He's everyone's grandpa, you know. You like, didn't they like? Oh, I think it was Paul Moody who said this, like, blood calls to blood. You know, it's like, oh, Lincoln was half bred or something like that. Paul Moody says a lot of crazy shit like that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
He did. He looked. You know, didn't they say in this Spielberg movie, "Oh, my hair's all crazy too." You know.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Lincoln's just a cool guy.
Oh, definitely.
And I think he had a great force of propaganda behind him. I mean, think about it. He led the country into a war against itself and managed to get reelected for a second term.
Yeah.
That dude had something going on.
Yeah, and he essentially liberated a slave race, too. That's pretty good.
I'm just talking about the propaganda side of things. I mean, just on the sheer force of being able to get elected and do his shit.
Oh, definitely.
You know, cool guy.
Yeah, you don't get politicians anymore. You get fucking career criminals.
Ouch.
I don't think that's wholly true, but...
Well, celebrity presidents.
Well, that's because your title's the politician, Steve.
Very true, okay.
See, you're just trying to use your silver tongue in our ears to get us to not hate you as much.
Yeah.
But you don't, so it's working.
Yeah. Like, I'm an
I do. Like, Steve, I have, like, this deep, burning passion of hatred towards you.
Oh,
yeah.
I never knew this. I'm gonna, like, walk away.
I cut out, like... I print out, like, pictures of your face, and I, like, cut out the eyes and the mouth, and then I put them on, like, as masks onto the people that I kill. And torture for hours just so I can imagine that I'm torturing you.
I mean, I was just going to say you put them on punching bags, but dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I have this weird urge to shoot you from a grassy knoll and, like, follow you you go to a theater or to a movie and just pop up behind you like a troll and shoot you in the back of the head and then scream, "The South will rise again," and run away.
I'm going to be keeping a lookout today because I'm about to go watch Big Hero 6 after this. So.
Yeah. If you see any red dots, that's me. Don't duck, by the way.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Be a friend. Don't duck.
So we're talking about a lot of older uses of propaganda, but I think something else we should probably touch on is maybe some Cold War propaganda. something that immediately comes to mind is Animal Farm being commissioned by the CIA for an animated film to tell people how terrible communism is.
What was the, I think it was another guy running for president during the Cold War, and it's like the famous ad that only ran once of the little girl in the dandelion.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
For those that don't, though, there's this, like, really infamous ad. It only played on television one time with this little girl, like, picking the leaves off of a dandelion. She's like, 1, 2, or, like, 10, 9, 8, and then, like, you hear this voiceover of, like one of the NASA guys or whatever. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the whole time the shot's zooming in on the little girl and zooms in on her eye, and you can see a mushroom cloud in the distance reflected in her eye. And it's the most disturbing thing ever, and it's an ad for, this is why I have to be president, otherwise this will happen.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to look it up, it's called Daisy. It was an ad run by Lyndon B. Johnson, and that was, at least as far as analysts say, that's part of the reason why he won such a landslide victory. Because that ad is terrifying if you lived in the 1960s. It's still terrifying, damn.
Yeah. It's actually, the thing is, you know...
I wonder if that girl's still alive.
I have no idea.
I'm only famous because I had a mushroom cloud in my eye when I was a little girl. I scared the shit out of capitalists. Holy shit. Because grannies swear. But you know what? Like, at least that sounds fucking artistic as fuck. Propaganda had some artistry behind it. Because if you see some of the anti-Obama fucking, propaganda, it looks like the intro to fucking the American Horror Story. It literally does. Like, brr, psh, brr, psh, Obama is the Antichrist because he's a Negro. Brr, psh, brr, psh.
Yeah, what was that one movie that, like, it was something with Christianity or like the Jesus story or something, and they have the devil show up for that confrontation of Jesus scene, and it looks like an older Obama.
They just found a black guy that looks exactly like Obama, made him look a little bit more older and withered, but yeah, they actually turned that miniseries into a movie, like call it The Son of God or the Bible story. It came out after, Noah or whatever, and essentially they took that Obama part out because it was like, oh, well, it's kind of racist.
Yeah, it was part of that TV miniseries, The Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's in my Netflix queue.
Yeah.
Did they put it back in? Because I totally want to see Devil Obama
It's
now.
probably still in there, yeah. The Son of God is
it.
really just like a 2-hour chunk of that whole miniseries.
Yeah. If you want to see, Ian, if you want to see Devil Obama, just look in your White House. People actually believe that he's the Antichrist. Holy shit. People are retarded.
Well, I guess it's this weird spectrum, because some of the things against Obama are, like, really creative, I gotta admit, and then some of them just annoy the shit out of me because they're stupid. Like, once I was leaving school, and you've seen that picture of Obama photoshopped to look like the Joker from Dark Knight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a picture of that posted on a sign as I was leaving school, and underneath it said socialism, and that just pissed me off because it made no sense.
I mean, there's a lot of those. People comparing Obama to Hitler have no idea what Hitler did.
Yeah, that's the other one I saw. Like, I was at this gun and knife show in Fort Wayne, and I went in and I'm looking around, and there was this picture of, like, a young Obama sitting in a desk, like, looking up all, like, heroic and whatever. And behind him, Hitler had his hands on his shoulders, and they were, like, both looking, like, out of the frame, like, up high. Mm-hmm. And it was like, the fuck does that even mean?
The thing is, Hitler is bad. Grandpa shot Nazis. Nazis bad. Hitler, he's a bad one. And Obama's a Negro, so he makes me feel scared like Hitler does. Oh, put them together. Obama is Hitler. Logic.
There's clearly some failed logic there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just like, the socialism one honestly pissed me off a little bit more, because, I mean, that's just, the Hitler one's just stupid, racist ignorance, but the socialism one with the Joker just pissed me off because the Joker's not a socialist.
No, he's an anarchist. If they put anarchy, at least it would be like, the Joker isn't a socialist. The Joker in The Dark Knight Returns is obviously a symbol for anarchy. I mean, it's just like, at least be it's stupid.
It just makes you look dumb.
It does. It just makes you look like every stupid, like, it confirms all the stereotypes about you being retarded, you know?
Well, like, it's this weird thing that people like Bill O'Reilly and certain others on the right wing do, and I'm not going to say that there aren't left-wing people that do this.
Oh, the left wing are fucking, like, it's retarded. It's gotten to such a point.
Clearly there's a wider distribution of it, if you will, on the right side.
Definitely.
Like,
definitely.
there's just these people that just say things and hope that they're true, just because they're saying them, like Glenn Beck.
Is Glenn Beck still a thing? I heard he died of a brain hemorrhage.
No, he's still around. He's just not on Fox News anymore because I guess he was too crazy for that. I don't know. Like, that guy. Recently, I was in a theater. And, like, they were advertising those like live events or whatever, and Glenn Beck was like, "Here's why we have to stop whatever that education thing is, the education standardization or whatever." It's just craziness. Like, all right, here's a good way to tie this back. So we have these pundits now, which, as far as I can tell, is a fairly new thing. Like, I'm sure the Romans had, like, street criers that, like, worked for the government. I don't know. But like, political pundits are a new thing, I think. I don't know of any historical basis for that.
Well, as soon as the 24-hour news cycle started, it was political pundits became a thing.
Yeah, so I think these are fairly new, and these are like the ultimate forces for propaganda in one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what, like, they have no accountability, and this is why Stephen Colbert is the greatest political pundit of all time. He has no accountability, and 1 week he will say one thing, and the next week he will say the exact opposite thing, and it's fine. No one expects anything different.
The same can be said with most, politics. 1 second they say one thing. Yeah.
So, like, certainly. But
Stephen
like,
Colbert,
no one calls a pundit on their bullshit, though. People call politicians on their bullshit, and then give bullshit reasons as to why that wasn't bullshit. Bullshit.
Lots of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. I like pundits in general. I think you could write a book on political pundits, and it'd be like a Harry Potter book, and there would be just as much magic and dragons in it.
Definitely. But underneath all the fantasy and, like, nonsense, you'll feel like it's like reading H.P. Lovecraft. Slowly over time, you'll feel your sanity slowly erode, and then you'll start to see the horrible truth underneath all the gibbering madness, and you'll either cry yourself and shoot yourself in the head, or laugh and just keep laughing and then start crying.
Indeed.
Well, Milan's example is a little bit extreme, but I think there is an extreme aspect to all of this. For example, in Russia right now with Vladimir Putin, you can't say that there isn't a textbook case of a cult of personality going on there with all of his propaganda.
I haven't looked in much to, like, his propaganda.
It's so,
Go ahead,
dude.
Milan.
Americans, like, right-wing Americans, they're so wet for Putin. They're like, why is Obama so weak? Why can't we have Putin as president? These fucking subhuman, fucking hypocritical assholes who were going like, oh, how dare you talk shit about Bush? Oh, you're not a true patriot. Oh, there's a Negro in the White House. Oh, we're going to secede to go to Russia and get wives there and live there and work for Putin because dude, Putin is he's like 5'4". He's Napoleon-sized. Of course he's going to have, pictures taken of him shoot. I shot a tiger. I strangled a bear. It's fucking comedic.
Well, I mean, it's even more than that, though. Like, there's a comic book in Russia called Super Putin, where he's just running around like Daniel Craig, James Bond, blowing shit up.
That's awesome. Milan, I don't know if you're going to remember this, but can you tell us about the ad you saw about Putin being Christian too, where it like just zoomed in on the one girl? You remember this? Like, I remember you told me about this once.
Yeah, it's essentially, there's this YouTube video, which was like a Russian girl, like a slightly, not as frumpy, but just like a fiver type of Russian girl walking upstairs, and she's like, the camera follows her around, and she says like, oh, Putin's enemies only fear him because he's popular. And she's like, oh, I'm Christian, and it zooms in on her cross. And it's like just this normal student-age girl that's kind of frumpy talking about how Putin is awesome. And like, Putin is great because his enemies are jealous of his popularity. That, like, in those
like, what you described to me is like the camera zoomed in on her tits, and then like at the end it just goes, Putin is Christian too.
Yeah, exactly. That happened, but her tits weren't anything to write home about. So it's like, like the Russian women. We are functionally attractive. Functionally attractive.
That's the true communist ideal.
Yeah. True Russian Christian women are functionally attractive. Look at her kind of alright but chunky tits. Kind of. Not her tits, but just the pound of flesh just above her tits. Her tits are covered. She's wearing a business suit, and it's kind of small for her. Putin. Vote Putin. Wait, that's right, you cannot vote. But it's just so ridiculous, because I kind of liked Putin because of this ridiculousness. Because he's just like, he didn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, if you're a Muslim terrorist and you want to have a circumcision, come to us. We're good at, circumcision. Which, he essentially said, we'll cut your cocks off, you motherfuckers. And I'm like, yeah, you're badass, but it's kind of ridiculous. Because my mom and my stepfather take it completely seriously, and on heart, like, yes, if the Muslims come to the Russia, we will cut their cocks off, and it's like, okay.
Well,
and
yeah,
that's
why I mentioned it's a bit of a cult of personality thing going on there, because there are some people in Russia that love Putin because they were made to love Putin and for no other reason.
Yeah, that is just like he actually did fix up Moscow. When I was a kid growing up in Moscow, Moscow was just fucking this homeless people everywhere. It was just run down and fucked up.
And I mean, the argument
he just
that
kind of
would
took
also
it back.
be that Russia went through like a double shift out of communism, and then by the time Putin got into office, the economy just started fixing itself up, and it wasn't even really Putin.
Yeah,
well, that's the other thing. For the longest time, I've said presidents or leaders, whatever you want to call it, get way more credit than they deserve, and way more flack than they could possibly be responsible for.
They totally do. I mean, Herbert Hoover is an exception because he literally did nothing until the Hoover Dam. But I mean, there's a lot of people that go around blaming or giving praise to politicians when the economy is good or bad, but they don't realize how aggregate supply and demand works.
It's crazy because just it's the longest thing. It's not much different than when people blamed their leaders for say for like famine or disease. That's a thing that used to happen. It doesn't happen as much anymore, except with the Ebola crisis right now. But during the plague, people would blame the king for it, and it's not like it was just a commoner thing to do. You look back at Oedipus Rex, and that's a play, yes, but like the idea behind it is, oh well, there's this curse because there's this awful king right now, or there's this king that did this awful thing. So it goes back quite a while. Of just if anything's bad in the country, it's the leader's fault, even if he could possibly have nothing to do with it. Even though in Oedipus Rex he totally is
and I mean, that was all like a divine right to rule thing, and we don't have that anymore, but you can make an argument for it, because people seem to think that if you're in charge, you have this magical ability to shift everything.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, God, Obama, stop making it cloudy out.
It is because Obama.
I work at a Fox News station. I work at a Fox News station, as everyone knows, and I'm trying so hard to convince the weather guy that anytime it's cloudy, just be like, thanks, Obama. And I'm like, dude, do it. It'll launch your career in Fox News. You'll be like up there with Bill O'Reilly any day. The right-wing weatherman. It's like, here we have some sunny times moving in from the Bush era. And there's Reagan's ghost sending us a nice, warm 70-degree day. Thank you, Reagan.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's so ridiculous. I mean, Reagan was... I've been listening to some old Robin Williams stand-up routines, and for the longest time, I couldn't realize, why was I so sad? Oh, right, he killed himself. Trigger warning, by the way. But it's just like, he called...
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you just say you were going to kill yourself?
No, Robin Williams killed himself.
Yeah, I know that. I was like, trigger warning, what? Is that a, like, sign that we need to go, like, help you or something?
No. It's silly Tumblr shit. But anyway,
okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it's just
Reagan was a genius at propaganda as well.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen the ad of his done to the, like... All this is pictures of Reagan on the campaign trail and pictures of American, like, natural landmarks with the song I'm Proud to Be an American playing over it. It has nothing to do with his political views whatsoever. And it's like, honestly, I mean, I watch that ad and I get fucking goosebumps. It's a good-ass ad.
The thing is, Republican...
I'm proud
to be an American.
I'm free.
You know what's weird? You know what I've noticed? People mostly on the right take propaganda to heart. They don't understand what the word propaganda means, so they're like, this is truth.
Well, I mean, to an extent,
because the television tells me so. Oh, definitely.
Say that again, Steve. No, wait. I think you cut him off, Milan. Say that again,
I just said, like, to an extent, both parties do, right? Because someone like from the right will have propaganda about how terrible Obama is, and then everyone will take it to heart. But then someone on the left will have a propaganda about how great Obama is and how great the economy is, and they'll take it to heart without considering the fact that all of this was not by his doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, what is it? It was just in my head, now it's going. Okay, here we go. So, I think the person that does the best job of balancing this out would be Jon Stewart.
Agreed.
Back in 2008, when Obama was already elected, or not elected, but when Obama was already the candidate, I believe it was the Democrats were having their national convention in New Orleans again, and there was like a hurricane moving in at the time. It wasn't Katrina, obviously, but there was another hurricane moving in at the time. And he's like, and why didn't the Democrats send anyone to help? Well, wait, they did send that one guy, and then they showed a picture of Obama like holding the levees up like Moses, like holding the water back from flooding New Orleans again. Like that's exactly how some Democrats think of Obama, and I'm sorry, he's not Jesus.
Yeah.
He's not the devil. He's not Jesus. He's just a guy.
Yeah, and we're not saying Obama has done nothing. It's just a matter of he's not magic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think South Park did a good job of taking that thought to heart when they did their election night episode when Obama was elected, and like everyone in the town of South Park was going crazy and like cheering and like, yeah, Obama he's gonna fix everything, and they just all got really drunk and like quit their jobs, and the next morning they wake up and realize that nothing has changed yet. They're like, damn it, Obama. I love
South Park. The South Park is great. Yeah, but I'm just like that's. Yeah, we're mostly talking about like things that defy propaganda, like Jon Stewart in South Park. Those things kind of make fun of the whole concept of propaganda. But it's just like, I really like propaganda in a way. When I would think of propaganda, I think of I'm not sure if this can be classified as propaganda, but comic books have been used to, I guess in a positive way, install some scientific curiosity in children. I believe it was Stan Lee or just both DC and Marvel had multiple occasions where the president would write in and said, I want, you to write stories about science and get kids interested in science and, the future and space travel so we can have a...
Kennedy.
Yeah, that was Kennedy. And Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, so we can have a whole new generation of engineers and scientists, and yeah, you did, but like with it did, but what's his name with I'm not a crook,
Nixon.
Nixon, Richard Nixon, that's right.
I love you to bring that up.
He
Just
also called
Futurama episode with Nixon.
Oh, fucking
Was
Nixon,
the one where he
dude.
got reelected?
Oh.
Was the one where
Yes,
he got reelected?
with no
and he
body and run for president twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like that was the greatest thing ever because it was like he sang the Jefferson Airplane song.
No, and then he's like, I'm gonna go Cambodian on your ass.
Yeah.
And then he has headless Agnew,
yeah.
which is great.
Who the fuck is Agnew? I never got that joke.
He was his vice president.
Right. I get it.
Wait, no, wait.
Was it?
Was he? I'm confused myself now. Was Agnew? Fuck, Steve, help me out. Who was Agnew?
Was the vice president, was he not?
Then how did Gerald Ford get
He
the
was
job?
the second one, was he not? Wasn't it like he fired the first one and then the other one came in?
Okay, I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
All right,
no problem.
Thank you.
But anyway, yeah, Nixon was always like, yeah, like tell the. No, he was like, I think he wrote in Stan Lee, and he said like, I want you to tell those fucking kids not to pop them pills. God damn it. That was my. That was my.
Nixon will also do the little victory fingers on his letters. It's great.
Awesome.
Like, was he trying to adopt the peace sign, or what
I
was
have
going
no
on
idea.
with that?
It was just a double victory kind of thing, but not the literal double victory.
I don't know.
Well, I guess
It's weird.
did he start using it when he'd won twice? Like, I won for the second row. I can't believe this is proof that the American people are doomed. Brah.
I just love that Watchmen has Richard Nixon as president in like his 6th term or
yeah,
something.
that's great.
6th term.
It's absolute genius.
Yeah.
No, but with Nixon though, and with just let's get off Nixon actually. With the comic book thing Milan was talking about, yeah, that was one of the greatest things that anyone had ever done for the country.
True. Yeah.
Because I mean, we have these things that we're all using at this exact moment. Everyone in this call and everyone listening to it, computers in our houses, which is crazy. Like without that interest in science fiction growing over the years, and it wasn't just comic books to be fair. I mean, Star Trek played a big part as well. But without that interest, it wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did. I'd say.
Yeah, agreed. Lots of science fiction books were coming out, lots of science fiction TV shows. Star Wars helped a great deal in making people realize that stuff is fun.
Yeah, yeah. But
And then Reagan, like I said last time, was just wanted to be in Star Wars, so he kept doing all these hints for George Lucas to pick up on. It's like, make another Star Wars movie and I'll be the president of space!
Well, I mean, yeah, and then there was other stuff like Twilight Zone and things like that. Like, it was just a culture of science fiction brewing for a while.
No,
Yeah.
I honestly think that Reagan had all the Star Wars homages, you know, the evil empire and the Star Wars program, just so that he could plant. He was like trying to do Inception with George Lucas to make another Star Wars movie that like takes place after the Empire has fallen and Reagan was elected president.
If Episode 7 happened like, I don't know,
course.
20 years earlier and we could have had Reagan as a cameo, that'd be hilarious.
That would be the greatest thing.
Reagan is just a random
you know,
stormtrooper.
No. You know, it's funny if
Go
they
ahead,
just.
Tom.
It would have been a hell of a lot more funny if they just had him be the fucking emperor. I know it's the most obvious joke anyone could ever make ever, but I'm like, yeah, I did it, bitch. What you gonna do? I
Can he
compared
be like
Reagan.
Dark Knight Returns cowboy
Nixon. Nixon. Oh no, what?
with Reagan.
What? Reagan who?
Say your thing again, Steve.
Okay, I was just saying, like,
can
can he be like
Yeah.
cowboy emperor for Star Wars? Like, he's just running the empire with his little
Yes,
cowboy
yes.
hat and spurs and everything.
Oh my god.
There's another one to talk about. Propaganda. Fucking Dark Knight
Yes,
Returns.
I love that book.
Oh.
And it's not as obvious. Like here's the thing about Dark Knight Returns. It's actually a fairly good Batman story wrapped up in Frank Miller propaganda.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's
so it's not obvious that it's Well, hold on. It's not obvious that it's propaganda until you read Dark Knight 2. Because then it's not a good Batman story anymore, and it's just obviously propaganda.
Well, then Holy Terror is nothing but propaganda.
I don't
You
even
never
know
read
what
Holy
that
Terror?
one is.
Well, Holy Terror.
Nope.
Essentially, it's Dark Knight Returns Batman, but with the ears cut off and no, marketable symbol on his chest.
Well, he was
and
going to be Batman. It was originally a Batman story, but DC was like, no, this is going too far.
Oh, well, DC had some class.
It's literally Batman going to Islam, or not Islam, but going to Al-Qaeda and beating the crap out of them. That's the story.
That's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, people think, though, it's propaganda. No, I think it was just him trying to internalize the... Like, if he did it, like, straight off after 9/11, that would have been considered as propaganda, like fucking Muslims. But, he waited a couple of years, and I think it was just him trying to internalize the ridiculous racist hatred of the Muslim. But I'm like, because there are some really artistically beautiful scenes in that book. Say what you will about the art being all jaggedy and angry. It's like, you could tell he was drawing this while just fuming in an anger. This man captured hate and anger with his pen. And there was some scenes where essentially, a big monument gets shot down by terrorists in Gotham City or whatever. And it's just like, Liberty City, I'm calling it Gotham, but anyway. Essentially, he shows like pictures of random people who died, and those pictures keep multiplying and multiplying, and then they're all in like tiny little squares, and then those squares keep multiplying, and then the pictures fade away, and it's just tiny little squares, tiny little panels that are barren and empty, and they just keep multiplying and multiplying until they become uncountable, and then it just all fades away into white. And that was fucking beautiful. No words needed. That's what people felt at that time, like with that tragedy. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating piece of art, but unfortunately, people can't react. No. But the thing is, it was before I finish, I want to finish this point. It was a beautiful piece of art that people could not see as art because he made fun of brown people, and it's just like, I don't like when people confuse white guilt and racism. Well, people, they let their white guilt kind of undercut something, genuinely good and something that genuine satire. There's genuine satire, and satire is not meant to be pretty and PC. Satire is meant to be like the knife across the throat of society.
Okay, let me get this idea out. Do you think that propaganda then is not a force made by a single person, but the spirit of a time coming out in an artistic way?
Well, the thing is, that is kind of true, but ideally, yes. But the thing is, with that is
when it's used positively, I guess.
Well, when it's positively, it's just art. It's just people expressing themselves. I think it has to be sanctioned by the government for it to be classified as propaganda. Well, because then it's just like
art. It's got to be pro-government. But I mean, in some ways, the way we're talking about propaganda, then the Beatles could arguably be propaganda, just not for U.S. And that's not the same as the Daisy ad or Triumph of the Will or something like that. Like, so ideally, propaganda is just art, but how often do we actually get that?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't really.
That thought occurred to me while Milan was talking. It's just maybe propaganda is just whatever artistic or whatever like political will of a time is expressing itself.
I suppose so, but the thing is, that's why.
Artistic.
Sorry.
It's art with a specific purpose, which is like then not art because art is something done for itself.
Well, I think that limits art.
It's still a bit of a stretch, only because it doesn't happen as frequently.
So. But the thing is,
I don't know. It's one of those things. It's just a thought that occurred to me, and I think that's where I'm going to come down on propaganda. But we can keep going.
I wouldn't consider. I really wouldn't consider Dark Knight Returns as propaganda. I think it's just. I think it's political commentary, really. It doesn't really have propaganda elements. It's political themes, definitely. But it doesn't, well, it doesn't feel like propaganda. It's more artistic than that. If it was more dumber and simpler.
I think that Dark Knight Returns is a really good Batman story that needed to be told, wrapped up in Frank Miller propaganda, and that's part of what helps it work so well, is it gives it a nice hard edge too. But I think Dark Knight 2, which is the sequel to Dark Knight Returns, even though that title makes no sense.
Again,
well, whatever. It says DK2 on the cover. Anyway. Which is the sequel to it, is just a really awful story that serves as nothing but a medium for Frank Miller's political views, or Frank Miller propaganda.
They were political views in The Dark Knight Strikes Back?
Strikes Again.
Yes.
Strikes
anyway,
Again, really?
Yes, but anyway, Dark Knight Returns, you can say isn't propaganda, and there's an argument there, simply because there's still a really good Batman story when you look past all the propaganda. Whereas Dark Knight Strikes Again is just awful.
Well, I don't think it's as clear-cut as that with Dark Knight Returns, though, because Dark Knight Returns, the Batman story is fueled by the propaganda, and the Batman story and then fuels the propaganda. It's a pretty close relationship, and it's not just you can appreciate the Batman story without the propaganda. Both have to be there. Then what Strikes Again is literally just
appreciate
propaganda.
The story without it.
I wouldn't call it propaganda. I think it's just the Frank Miller expressing his political views. I wouldn't say it's propaganda. Propaganda for who?
For Frank Miller.
Well, he's not a person of power.
People. Honestly, here's what we need. We need to go back and remake the animated Dark Knight Returns movie, throw out Peter Weller as the voice of Batman, and just replace it with Bill O'Reilly. And it would make perfect sense.
But Bill O'Reilly loves his fucking Reagan. Wait a second.
Exactly.
So Batman is fucking... What? But how does that even make sense? I mean, Bill O'Reilly loves Reagan, doesn't he?
Yeah, but sure. But, Frank Miller is just so crazy right-wing. And
is he?
Reagan in that one was an example of just too far of government control. So, fuck Bill O'Reilly, put in Glenn Beck instead, because Glenn Beck's the libertarian motherfucker.
Libertarians are like the ultimate white knights for rich people. It's like, maybe if I'll suck up to the rich people, they're like, oh my god, stop making fun of the rich people. They're better than us. Well, I hope to strive to be a rich person one day. You won't be, sweetheart. You won't be. No matter how much you give the rich man a blowjob, no matter how much you suck his dick, they will never take you to the prom. Sorry, libertarians.
That's disturbing.
Yeah. All libertarians, modern-day libertarians are just fucking goofy-ass motherfuckers that think, hey, fucking, let's get rid of the government. How will anything function? How would roads work? All these, the free market, the free market isn't this fucking mystical genie, all right?
The free market is God, Milan.
Yeah, I know. Rich people will solve all our problems.
You're in economics, right? Steve, you're in economics, right? Okay, so is the free market just like a deity that economists and Republicans pray to?
Yeah, more or less. It's honestly supply and demand. It's the market does everything by itself, and there are no contributing factors unless you count the Fed and open market operations, and bonds, and again wars and governments. So yeah, it's a deity, except it has no power because there's millions of other things related to it.
Yeah, the thing is, in political
just
science,
the way people talk about the invisible hand of the market, I'm like, God, it just sounds like religious dogma. Honestly, in a post-apocalyptic world where somehow the stock market still exists, I can just imagine a cult of the free market. Of the invisible hand of the free market.
That already exists.
They're worshipping the Tao.
So there's this ideal perception of it, of the invisible hand of the market that guides everything, and that's basically there. But you wouldn't have that unless you had people marketing things that people wouldn't demand otherwise.
Yeah. But the thing is...
I don't know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, but the thing is, Steve, sorry, I confused you for Bill there. Steve's, his college course consists of just, ritualistic,
sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Yeah. It's just like if you want
We
to
kill
appease
goats and then sell their skin and fur.
Yeah. No, they don't do that. They basically give the skins to rich people. It's like, you got to slit the throat of the goat in a proper way to appease the free market. Because if the free market is angry, economy breaks. Ooh, rich people are good. Rich people are better than us. Let's not judge them and fucking... Oh, the thing is, I don't... like. I understand this basic idea, because you have these fucking, the self-made man, essentially the guy who was the main character in There Will Be Blood. They think they're like, that's our Superman, but I'm like, yes, those self-made men are great, but after 2 generations, you know what's the end result of that? Paris fucking Hilton.
Well, I mean, the self-made man thing also is really down to luck. You can't just say you're going to do all this hard work and be successful. There are lots of factors that go into it aside from that. It's not the Gilded Age, the great story of you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Steve. Some people are just better than others and deserve respect and adoration and all the money. It has nothing to do with luck. It's destiny.
Okay, Duskovsky.
Well, here's the thing about that. Is the idea of, Reaganomics, I guess, is that propaganda, or is that an actual economic theory?
It was propaganda that got turned into a legitimate economic theory that doesn't hold any water.
I always thought Reaganomics was fucking a mental illness.
It might as well be, yeah, because that doesn't actually solve anything. It's a stupid idea, and it was always a stupid idea.
Well, there's that picture, I think you tweeted it the other day, Steve, of, Reaganomics, and it was, just a bunch of guys laughing in the White House, and they're like, we told him it would trickle down. And that's really it. I mean, trickle down, it just sounds like you're getting pissed on when you think about it.
Fuck the poor and give the rich people more money and give them tax breaks. That way,
that easy.
Society will get better if you give rich people more money and fuck the poor and cut social hey, let's just fucking cut the funding on mental institutions. Let's do that. Let's just let all the crazy people out into the street because we can't afford to take care of them. Yes, because that's what we need. A bunch of crazy-ass schizophrenics walking around without the proper care. Oh,
well,
I'm sorry.
Isn't that what you are?
Well, I'm not the crazy schizophrenic. I'm the, hey, want to smoke some weed and I'll make pancakes. I'm the fun kind of crazy person. Just ignore, the monkey demon things that I've cobbled up thanks to mad science and PETA not being good at its job, but it's just
it's not though.
No, PETA is fucking horrible. Let's kill animals that we rescue off the street because we're fucking PETA. God damn it. Anyway, I mean, Ian, I sincerely recommend you read Deadly Class. It's an Image Comics. Essentially, it's set during the Reagan era. And it's about this assassin school, and the main character motivation is to kill Reagan because a crazy person that he let loose, he let loose, jumped off a bridge and crushed his parents as they were on a ferry or something, and so he blames Reagan, and he becomes a homeless kid, and then a Mr. Miyagi assassin type takes him in, and he goes to a high school underneath, San Francisco.
He learns how to curve bullets. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. It's essentially...
we have talked about this last time, the Rick Remender story.
Go on. I don't care. Anyway, all right, so back to the idea of, economic propaganda, because I think that's an interesting thing to talk about as well. Yeah. Because we talked about how the leader isn't responsible for economics, and how it's a little silly to think of economics as a deity, which, honestly, a lot of the hold on, the word's going to come to me, beautiful language that makes something sound good even if it's not really. Steve, help me out. No, it's what they call continental philosophy now.
Damn it, now I'm forgetting it.
Mental retardation?
No.
I don't even know what you guys talking about. I'm just I'm going to say something condescending and hope it sounds smart.
It's kind For the logic philosophers,
Analytic philosophy?
The analytic philosophers. No, not analytic philosophy. What analytic philosophy calls continental philosophy. Shit, what's the word? God damn.
This gonna bug me all day now, isn't it? Like, I'm gonna be sitting in Big Hero 6 wondering what the hell this is. Damn it.
I do, about, though, don't you? It's what political speeches are composed of mostly. Anyway, fluff language is what a lot of people call it.
Horseshit, I like to call it.
So,
horseshit's good too.
Yeah, sure. So no, you got like all this lovely little ideas that get thrown out, but what is a positive example of economic propaganda? Because there is a lot of it, right? Like, I'm not crazy thinking of that.
I can't like give you a specific here is a poster that made everything work, but I can kind of give you the premise behind that, because propaganda is almost more important in economics than I think anywhere else, and it's one of the only times where I think it's okay to lie to the public for their own good, because that's the only way it works. Like economics, no matter how much people think it's this invisible hand of supply and demand, there is a factor of people's speculation involved in it. If people don't think the economy's good, it's not good. And if people think the economy's bad or is good, then it's good. Because it's all derived by investment in consumption. So, when there's some kind of banking crisis, and the Fed decides to increase the reserve rate, they don't do that. Because the moment they increase the reserve rate, and then there's a signal sent to people that says the banks are failing, and everyone panics and tries to get all their money out, and it crashes the economy. So, as far as economics goes, then propaganda is almost more important there. Because how else would you drive investment other than, like, forcing people to realize that, no, the economy is totally great, and you just got to spend money, and by that spending money, it will become great.
Yeah. I was watching The West a while back now, and they have an episode where the presidents and everyone had put it through a policy where everyone got basically next year's tax return on their previous year's tax return. So when tax time came up again, a lot of people ended up owing money. And they're like, well, what'd you spend the extra $200 you got on? I invested it and gave about half of it away to charity. We would have preferred you go to Banana Republic.
Yeah, essentially that's what it is.
Yeah, well, it's great, and you know, Martin Sheen being the greatest president of all time makes it right and gets it's Gus from Psych actually is his aide in that show. He gets him a DVD player because he donated so much of his tax return to charity, and he felt bad for him. He's like, here, I'm gonna get you this DVD player you wanted because I'm the best president ever.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate, like, it's like, hey, fiction can give us a president that doesn't suck balls. Awesome.
Well, like, I honestly believe, and I don't know if this is propaganda or not, I honestly believe that George Bush would not have been considered as bad a president as he was if the majority of his term, if not for the fact that the majority of his term, Martin Sheen was the fictional president. I honestly fully believe people would have been okay with George W. Bush if Martin Sheen had not been fake president.
Also, destroying the economic surplus would have helped as well, but...
No. Honestly, like, people would have given that a total pass if Martin Sheen had not been president. Because, like, they could just turn on the TV. It's like when an abused child watches, like, Happy Families on sitcoms, and that makes them realize how awful their home situation is, or as I like to call it, Milan's life.
That's
it's
so
exactly
true.
like that.
Yeah, it's sad that it's true. That's exactly. Oh, I did that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You just realize, God, I have really awful parents by watching good parents on television.
That was awful. Like, oh god, oh my god. Oh, see, now I'm regressing too much. I'm gonna cry now. Oh my god. Oh wait, that's right. I have a penis. Men don't cry. Men don't cry. We bottle up our feelings.
Until we explode one, kill everyone in the grocery store, starting with that fucking clerk.
I guess while we're on this topic, there is actually a book during Nazi Germany. I can't pronounce the name because it's in German and I don't read German, but the book is essentially just like a 200-page explanation of why Germany's economy during the Nazi era was so great. Like, It's got page-per-page breakdowns of look at the lowest unemployment rate we have, and look at how we redistribute our wealth, and look at how much money our currency is worth compared to other people, and almost none of it's true.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing. Here's why that all helped, is because you fucking got rid of like 6 million people in your population and gave all their businesses to other people.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's an interesting read, if nothing else. Because a lot of that also drove the German economy up because everyone thought it was good.
Whoa. So essentially...
Honestly, you know why the modern era has slowed so much in economic growth and just general prosperity for the majority of people? It's because we keep getting minority populations' rights.
Yeah, essentially...
And we quit committing genocide against them.
Yeah.
There's too many... here's how I think of economics, okay? The fewer people have money, the better the economy is. The more people that have money, the more money you have to print, the worse the economy gets. So that's why slavery leads to such a good economic situation.
Of course, yeah.
To an extent, you can also call Rosie the Riveter economic propaganda.
If not economic, then definitely just propaganda in general. And she was initially propaganda to get women to, want to work in the factories because, it was a social time where women didn't think that was what they should have to do, and then Rosie empowered them to do it. And then she was used as double propaganda later after all the women were expected to quit their jobs when the men came back from war, and then she was used by the women's lib movement to no, we deserve jobs too. We deserve the exact same kind of jobs as men do because Rosie proved that we could do it.
Yeah.
And now feminism is all about white privilege. I don't know. What is third wave feminism anyway? I don't know.
I don't know. It's certainly problematic.
It's
like I consider myself a feminist, but then I look at like some modern feminism and go,
essentially the complete and utter genital just let's kill all the men. I think that's the
what drives me crazy about what drives me crazy about modern feminism, and I'm not going to let us go on this for too long, but this is the one that drives me crazy. The thing I hear most from like modern feminists, and these aren't like crazy people they put on Fox News. These are like active leaders of the feminist community that get on liberal stations. I keep hearing about like the flex work or flex time work week. I'm like, no, that's awful. That is exactly the opposite of equality. Basically what I hear a lot of pundits saying is, well, if you give women time to do their job when they're able to do it, then they'll always get it done. So if you don't do the 9-to-5 week, which is totally a male invention, then you'll definitely have more female workers staying for longer. I'm like, no, that's the exact opposite of equality. You get special benefits? What? Based on your sex? No, it's complete opposite of what you want. Anyway, let's get off of that because it's not entirely important. It's really bad propaganda.
Ian, you're a sexist, white, hetero, cis rapist. How dare you?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, alright, so we're getting close to wrapping up here. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to talk about in the realm of propaganda, though? Is there another area of propaganda that we don't think we've addressed? Because we've talked about political, we've talked about historical, and we've talked about economic.
The only
very
good
briefly
type of
sexual propaganda.
Yeah. The only good type of propaganda is the kind that says, I'm thinking mostly of really weirdly subversive. I don't know if this can be counted as propaganda or not, or just a weird a changing of the times. Essentially, old Clint Eastwood movies. He always played that rough kind of racist, everyman superhero kind of guy. I'm a Republican. I'm competent, and I don't like the brown folks. And over that, he always starts out like that, but then he's just yeah, Asians are okay. So are the blacks. Yeah. It's almost hey, angry middle-aged white men, the minorities are good as well. Is that propaganda, or is it just Clint Eastwood being a badass?
I think it's Clint Eastwood just realizing that he came from an older generation, but survived into a much different generation, and he's trying to cope with that. in a really good way.
I mean, we got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fantastic
because-
There are
short
worse
speech
ways
out of it.
to
So.
cope with it than making Gran Torino.
Oh, fucking I love
There are
Gran
much
Torino
worse
so
ways
much.
to cope with your racism than making Gran Torino. So there's that.
What do you like Gran Torino?
Oh, I love Gran Torino. I'm saying there
yeah.
are much worse ways of coping with racism than making that movie.
Yeah,
It surprises me.
Gran Torino is such a good. Oh, it's so good. It's like the ultimate white American grandpa. It's like, oh, I'm a competent man with balls. Oh my God, thank you. They don't make them anymore. They get shot. They get thrown off a cliff now. Like, oh, this baby's far too masculine and manly and competent. Let's throw it off a hill. Oh, look at this one. Look at this one. It has no balls and a vagina, but it's still a man. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's 4 a.m. See, if I don't get sleep, I turn into a Republican and I start saying crazy shit. Or a liberal. I don't know. Like, it's so,
Okay.
they're both,
Steve,
they're
how
both
about
so
you?
crazy.
Steve, is there anything you wanted to make sure we brought up?
No, nothing particular. I think you ran the gambit pretty well for an hour discussion.
Yeah, and we got a lot of interesting historical stuff in here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still thinking of that word.
is
The only The only positive use of propaganda, positive use of propaganda is when it, inspires the kids and the younger generation to, genuinely, not the whole fedora wearing, I love science, but I live in my basement type of, like, if it inspires you to go into science or into the arts, the genuine arts, not deviant art, but the genuine arts, engineering, things that
You
are
have a DeviantArt account, bitch!
I know, but I'm a schizophrenic. I can do whatever I want. I can literally do whatever I want.
The things that I say do not apply to me.
Exactly.
#longevity.
Indeed. Or yeah. I'm joking. Like, DeviantArt is great, but I'm just saying, like,
Are we talking about
shit, but essentially, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. I'm just saying
I'm
that.
still thinking of that word. I feel like obscurantism is the closest one to it.
No, it's not it. It's one of those things, when you say it, I'll know it,
Yeah, but essentially, it's stuff that encourages kids to, go into science and
I got
you.
love. Yeah, that's
got you.
positive propaganda. That's the stuff that's acceptable. If you're telling, like, hey kids, see that brown boy over there? He's gonna take your job when you turn 30. Here's a rock.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
For me, I think you're saying the same thing 20 times and just adding more racism into it.
I know. I can't help it. It's the spirit of Bill O'Reilly. It's infecting me.
For me, shut the fuck up. For me, I think that, like many things that we talk about on this show, it's a very much two-sided issue. It's really hard to come down one way or another. Overall, I think propaganda is mostly a negative thing that stems from not believing people are intelligent enough to make actual decisions and think about things. But there are numerous and very obvious examples of when propaganda is a positive thing, and it doesn't quite do that. Like the comic books, or like, as Steve said, some economic propaganda. So that being said, it's got its positive elements. I'm not going to deny it, but I still see propaganda as mostly a negative thing that's hard to justify, or hard to say isn't, kind of manipulative. And I think that's kind of the point of propaganda, to manipulate people to see their side.
Yeah, it's wholly manipulative, but I think it's hard to argue that in some cases it's necessary. Again, I would just keep pointing back to the economic example, because that's what I know, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good example, Steve.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for propaganda. Do we want to rate propaganda?
We should. Let's rate propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give propaganda 4.5 swastikas out of 5.
I'll give propaganda 4 out of 5 terrifying Daisy ads.
I'm gonna give propaganda 5 out of 5. Just saluting Stalin posters.
Awesome. All right, so I'm so excited. This is almost the only reason that we are having History Month on Geeky Gentlemen. Like, once Steve picked, like, the Iron Lady topic, I'm like, oh, fuck it, we're continuing the history theme just so I can have an excuse to pick this. Are you ready? I'm doing the review topic. Here we go. You ready? This is so exciting. I'm so happy. I'm like a little schoolgirl. I'm so giddy. We're going to talk about Pocahontas.
Are you serious? Wow, okay.
Oh.
Yes, we're talking about the Disney movie Pocahontas.
I haven't seen that movie since I was 7.
That's why it's going to be awesome! Because
I have no idea what happens in that movie outside of everyone thinking it's racist.
Exactly! It'll be amazing! I know, this is so exciting.
I could... Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Does that movie hold up for anybody?
I don't know.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. That's why I haven't seen it in years either. And I'm just like, it's been in my head lately because Watch Mojo played a clip of it. I'm like, wait, this might actually not be racist?
Oh.
I don't know. I'm really excited. This is gonna be so much fun. We're gonna talk about Pocahontas, and there'll be racism.
This is gonna be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like okay, everyone. Thank you very much. Everyone, thank you for listening. So excited for next week. It's so ridiculous. Like I just so want to fucking talk about this movie.
You were this excited over it. Wow. Okay.
It'll be so much fun.
It will be.
Like it's either gonna be super interesting or super hilarious because we're just gonna tear it apart. I don't know. There's no way it's not gonna be fun.
I'm gonna have to read up on the historical
anyway.
Pocahontas now, but
either way,
she was 14.
Yeah. Either way.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wrap up. Everyone, thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm the
politician.
And I am the madman. So you don't have to take anything I say at all seriously. That's awesome.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.